Hello, I am Brenda Power Medicine Woman. And Brenda Power Medicine Woman is who I am, and I am here to teach, to learn. I'm a student, I'm a teacher. What am I supposed to be doing? I allow spirit to come through. We all do. And I have specialized in asking the question when the Bible said to us one time, there is healing. I can't remember the words. Spirit had just disconnected me, has reconnected me with something else. I'm not sure where we're going with this. Hello, everybody. I'm just excited to be here because all I can tell you is that I have been working very hard at fine-tuning this frequency so I can hear from a very higher frequency. It's something that you have to pay attention to because as you begin to download energies, you don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to fake yourself out. You don't want to be listening to ego. You have to be listening with your heart and your mind, and you get into that frequency. Someday I'm going to show you how to do that. There's several things that Spirit wants us all to learn and to grow because the planet, 10 of 10, now I haven't decided that would be tomorrow. If it does, Spirit is telling me that this is so huge because this is like the end of the cycle and the beginning of a new cycle, and it's so huge that and I keep hearing I'm supposed to wait, even though it's a very, very important download. I'm supposed to wait. So I've got my message. All right, that's fine. I'll do so. But in the future, we're going to have you can belong to this one group where you just get to have interaction where we can talk and stuff like this. And the video every now and then, and I'll put up a card every now and then, but there'll be a paid one, but you have to talk to me about that, and I have got to get the name of it and where we're going to do it, because there's going to be several groups with the increase of prices that you get more special discounts when you have your private readings with me, many other things that are coming into play, so keep that in mind. The classes are forming. I might just start putting out a lead class so that we can, that foundation, so that we can really start gathering the information. Hello. And if you can't ever find me on Facebook, you can always find me on YouTube. I broadcast these two simultaneously. Sometimes I do extra things on YouTube. Now, what's interesting is as soon as I started to record, the color in my YouTube changes. That always looks dark. There's not much I can do about it. I'm not sure what's happening. Now, the levels of consciousness, the first, second, third chakra, these are centers, these are brains, these are levels of consciousness. And what does that mean? Well, the first three are all about survival. And as you begin to grow, you will start to grow out of those. You have to take the wisdom. But if you stay in your hells, and that is you create a heaven and hell on earth. Most people don't even realize what that is. They're states of mind. If you believe that your life is nothing but hell, then that's what you're going to get. But if you believe your life is hell and you know that there is a light at the end of that tunnel and that there is a way out, then you are absolutely correct. That third option is so important because it is part of your awakening. You're going to start to stop having fate. It was like, oh, well, it was destined to happen. It was fate. Well, here's a lot of things you guys don't know. Do you know what runs your body? An innate wisdom. But do you know that your subconscious mind runs your body? But it also runs your life. It holds all the programs. You are a computer. This is a computer. You beam yourself in here. Yeah, you heard what I said. You beam yourself in. We have receptors on our skins, and the code matches up. So you know exactly where to come in at and which body is yours. Okay. And once you beam yourself in, this is what I want to say. your body is your spirit, because consciousness is all there is, and you start to create it into hologram. This is who I am. Now, I'm not going to go too deep because I can. It's just, let's get back to what they want to talk about. That first and second and third chakra, it's all about consuming. It's all about survival. And you will find a very important thing that occurs, and that if you were to change somebody's world, for instance, you stop showing up the way that they expect you to, you're going to disturb it. They will want to pull you back into their reality about how they know you. How dare you change type thing. Oh God, who are you becoming? Oh, and you're learning to be in that cocoon and to become a butterfly, which means you're going to have to be okay to pull out of that cookie cutter world and start to transform into who you are. And you're going to find a lot of people that are going to go to the first, second, and third chakra, and they're just going to be like, what about me? And at the same time, the mirror is, you're saying, what about me? But you're not doing it in the way that is all, gimme, 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 in the ego form. You're doing it as, I freaking need to survive, but I'm going to do it without ego. I cannot do it through this ego anymore. And the ego is an electromagnetic guiding omni-apparition. Okay? You are an electromagnetic being. You are viewing your consciousness through these sensory receptors that are in this physical form, but you have inner receptors, and we forgot how to use those. But as you start to view life, your programs, actually, your inner world creates your outer world. But your outer world influences your inner world. And you can create, as long as you accept and you believe, then you give it your willpower, then you will create certain programs. You can uncreate certain programs. And most people are saying, what? Okay, don't get lost. Just know that your emotions, and most people do not give yourself credit. You're like, what? Emotions have nothing to do with my health. It has everything to do with your health. It has everything to do with your life. Why do you think that there's mental health? Why do you think that people have emotional issues? I just don't understand why some people can't mirror and marry the two, that your physical health and your physical world has everything to do with your personality. And that is made up of your behaviors, which is made up of what you accepted that became limited and no longer serves. What the beliefs, that the power that you gave your life force to keep that alive and saying, this is what I believe, and you keeping it alive. So it's so important to begin to understand that you have to wake up to how you're creating your world. And yes, when you begin this trail, you're going to say, oh my God, they made me feel that way. Yes, they were a trigger. But you already agreed to feel that way because it's an emotion that's trapped. Trapped emotions. So recently, I've been having spinal issues, and I'm like, what the heck's this all about? So when Spirit wants you to learn something, now I firmly believe I won't teach it, I won't pass it on if I haven't learned it myself, experienced it myself, because then, I mean, I got nothing to talk about if I don't understand it. What's the point of passing something on? Unless you have faith in that other person or other thing. So I said to Spirit, what do we do? You want me to teach some stuff, but I just don't quite get it. And Spirit said, okay, in the Bible, it talked about hands-on healing. That was my determination. I want to know. And I learned baby steps, right? I'm sure if they handed this to me, which is what they did, I did not know what I had, and I had a bad experience and got rid of it. So you have to start where everybody starts. You know, once a disaster turns into a master. You have to understand what it's not before you can appreciate what it really is and what it can do. We just so focus on so much of what it's not that we don't believe in ourselves anymore. Excuse me just for a second. My heater is very warm. Okay, so I went from scratch. So every time I have something going on out here, I know it's an inner program. So I will figure out what it is. It always leads back to energy, and it leads back to an emotion. You can connect it to a belief or a value. You're like, wow. And it'll always connect back to the Kundalini, which is the energy that runs through your chakras, which is the level of consciousness. And as I begin to really dive into this world of healing and understanding about what it means to be human, I'm diving further into knowing that spirit teaches me. Now, my spine was bothering me, and I thought, why does this seem to be bothering me? And spirit says, oh, good. Now that we got your attention over here instead of over there, I want you to study this. And just by synchronicities, buying zinc in powdered form and bringing it home and starting to look it up, because I started to have some muscle issues and nerve issues, and I couldn't understand what was going on. I knew my parathyroid was going nuts, rubbing on my points, corrected it for a short time. And I said, okay, why is my body programmed that way? Spirit says, good question. And then when I'm like, okay, I'm finding more and more about this. Now I have learned, and this is what happens for me, is I have learned about Kundalini. I've learned about the ninth chakra. I have learned about the body. And now it's time to start putting them all together, because you can understand certain things, but when you start to see how they operate together, it makes a big story. So out of the blue, my wonderful friend, Jennifer, says, hey, I'm working on people tonight, and I'm going to add you to the group. What do you need? And I says, well, it's a funny thing. I don't understand what's going on with my neck. She's okay. She comes back. She goes, I don't know much about it, but I keep hearing the ninth chakra. She goes, what do you hear? I said, I hear it's damaged, but she goes, yeah. And she said, oh, I see some attachments. And now in her mind, her attachments that could be goobers. Goobers can be the world of negativity from attachments, other souls, things that can attack. And for me, it's like, okay, these goobers are translated into what? And finally, spirits pointed out they are specific emotions. And if Jennifer Topple's listening, it's connected to the mothership. You'll know what that means. And I realized that the Kundalini, the ninth chakra, and the mineral issue that I have going on are all related to how I see the world, and how it's all about the structure of thinking and emotions. And when I started to intentionally include working on the Kundalini and the ninth chakra at the same time, and the emotion, I had some weird things that were happening in my body. I mean, I literally can feel it relaxing and shifting. And I'm like, what? And then I wake up to a world that the energy from my body has already projected out. And there's just this wave of love from people that just came in out of the blue, out of nowhere. But it's all about synchronicity. And I said, oh my gosh, I'm learning how to receive on a whole nother level. I am learning how to give and receive on a whole nother level. I could feel that my Kundalini had started to really wake up and go through the chakras the way that the energy should be able to flow. And I have to say, I feel a lot better than I used to. And I don't think I have to really take on people's energies anymore. And see, that was one of the things that I had issues with. I ended up taking stuff on, even though I know that you're supposed to observe. And I've learned a lot of tools along the way to help stop absorbing. And so again, I have to go through these things so I can pick up and learn and pass them all on to you. And I have so many tools and how to do things. Like the parathyroid, energy medicine. I have all of these things. I made a deal with spirits. Look, don't use my kids anymore. Only come through me, or if you want customers to come to me. I can't, I mentally, emotionally don't want to handle the hell that when your child gets sick or something's wrong with them. And, or my husband, and boom, everything was not out there. It was hey, she agreed that she's going to pay attention. We're going to teach her this way. So you have to be careful what you ask for, what you pray for, what it is. And if you did ask, you better damn well understand that you're going to be receiving answers. And you can really shift your world in such a way you'd be amazed at yourself. So when you start to climb out of the pit of hell, understand it is about those emotions. Your thoughts, okay, have everything to do with the frequency of the emotion. Okay, there is thoughts that become things, but then there is programs, and these programs will make you think. Okay, and as these programs begin to make you think, then you don't even know it. This is where it becomes a repetitive hell, and this is where it gets very interesting, because then what would the little self from time of conception up to this age of 7 even think? Now, you want to talk about being illogical. They don't know how they got from A to Z. They just know it makes perfect sense if I did this, this, and this, and this, and this. And then we're looking and go, but that don't make any sense. It's not meant to. You're supposed to create and learn how to cope, handle, and deal with life. And if you haven't learned any of those abilities, learn how to express yourself, or this is how you learn to express yourself. You have to unlearn and relearn where you need to go. And when it comes to survival with yourself, you will be amazed at what you'll frickin' do to yourself in order to survive. Even to kill yourself. It may sound stupid, but when your brain can't handle anymore, and it feels like it's being attacked over and over and can't handle it anymore. These are all the emotions, but these are all energies. Energies are electromagnetically off, or they're stuck, or they're too much, or they're too under. It's chaos. Okay, it's a terror attack inside of you. It is a riot going on inside of you, and you know. So I have learned that even when I don't feel good, which I really haven't had any flus or any of that. Thank you, Spirit. I just know where at certain points to start to rub. And then when I start to come out of it, I then muscle test and listen to Spirit, and then I can understand how to rub more. Let me explain one more time. When you're sick or your emotions, you can't really channel clearly. Do you understand? Because you have dropped your frequency, which drops your vibration, which changes your musical notes, which changes the frequency of how you're choosing to exist in this world based on programs. Just remember your energy and emotions. If you're less than happy, go tap it out. If you don't understand how to do certain things, then good God, make a private session with me and we can help you do this. Now, you're going to get frustrated with people out there. There are people that are awake, and there are different degrees of what that looks like. If you are awake, depending on which level of consciousness or chakra you go through, will depend on whether you're going to be in sync with another one or not. Like, I know people that are awake, but only awake in the first and second, and they don't quite understand and are not open to anything I have to say, but they're awake. They can meditate, they do yoga, they're eating healthy, they're thinking, this is a good one, positive, negative. They don't realize they're using the two sides of themselves. They're positively talking about their life and negatively bitching about life. And all that's doing is causing conflict. Not out here, but as much as it is in here. And the more you sit there and stand in the cause and effect equation, where you are in always the effect, and you're pointing your finger and you're like, life sucks, and doing small talk and bitching about things and gathering your minions and saying, oh, don't you agree? And then you're like hoping somebody will stand up for you. I mean, it's great when people work together and stand up for each other and support each other. It's like, if I'm climbing that mountain and I need help, I'm hoping somebody will reach behind and save my ass, because I'm going, well, that I'm able to sit there always and pull somebody up, even if it's my enemy. And it is, let's go. You don't need, you're worth living. You popped your ass into this body for a reason. Let's wake your ass up, But I will also respect where you're at. but I will also respect the fact that I won't put my hand in the fire again just because I think you need it. Now, you have to come to that realization, okay? Point blank. You have to start to begin to learn all these little things. And these are the little things that I teach. These are the little things. This is why the empowerment and enlightenment class is going to be a big one. Because what I do here is what I do in these classes, but I help you see further what it is you need to do. Okay? And when it comes to the ego, remember, you can't see me if you don't have an ego. It is only when you take and you look through the lens, okay, and you begin to over-identify with that lens, and you forget who your connection is and the vibration that you are, and you're going into programs. And this is where the musical notes inside of you start to change and become off kilter. Your symphony isn't working, your harmonizing ain't working. And you're over-identifying. You're like, but I love that person. I don't know why they don't love me back. And you can't let that go. Or someone dies, and then you just can't get over it. Oh my God, I've had so many people die in my life. And what I realized that even though time healed it, and which means that I could live, my heart never mended. My body always took a hit. And I couldn't hear the loved ones. And then I said, Spirit, what's going on? And Spirit says, because you haven't healed the root. You never coped, handled, and dealt with it, which I can understand then because it was too much of a shock to your system. But you get a chance now. And so I went back and I healed my heart. I mended my heart. I took the shields down and I put in the light instead of it. I went in further to face what I needed to look at in my life. And as I healed those roots, I took the wisdom. I learned to cope, handle, and deal with the things that I couldn't. I did it right then. I took the wisdom out of it, and I learned that even though I was nice, and yet this woman kept still abusing me, why was I hooking myself up to her and being nice to her? I unhooked myself from her, and I stayed nice. And I stopped putting my hand in the fire, and Spirit says, okay, now you're going to gravitate to like-minded people. And I had, and I did. And you know what the best part is? I am freaking happy. I wake up every day bubbling. I used to never want to get out of bed. I dreaded getting out of bed. I didn't want to face the day. My thoughts were all over the place. My heart was always broken. And I was ill-tempered to some degree, which is, I was so tired of trying to face the world and people, because as soon as I would try to be nice, they would just like, it's all about them. Or they were bitch. Or you're like, what's wrong with you? You should be doing this. And it's like, there was always somebody's emotions of attack, negative thinking, negative this, negative that. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. And I just didn't know how to handle it. I created an intolerance, which affected my health, which affected my life. And I says, there's got to be a better way. And Spirit says, yes, there is. Glad you asked. We talked about hands-on healing. We gave you Reiki energy, a Reiki master. So I use the Dragon Reiki. And what that does is it takes, and it's a shortcut to spirituality, because what it helps you get helpers, you get energy, you get this energy that helps you to get out of the lower three chakras and start to develop past that, past the insanity, past that. And how do I define insanity? You can't make something stop. It just keeps repeating itself over and over and over, and it drives you crazy because you're like, I can't make it stop. And I've learned how to make it stop. And I've learned that it was an emotional chemical peptide that makes it that way. And you have to decide, and if you're going to fully awake, it cannot just be, I'm going to eat right, do yoga, think positive. Take it to the next level. Keep questioning. Keep asking Spirit. Say, thank you for showing me. Thank you for showing me more. Because just right when you think you've got it, more information comes. And as long as you start to understand to do the third option, instead of just be wrapped up in your world, you will eventually, with all the healing tools, you'll learn to stop over-identifying with matter. And you'll start to stand back and look that this is a lens. And you can learn through spiritual investigation, going, oh my God, I lost emotions there. And my emotions, it's like a twang. Oh God, I got pissed because why? because there's an unresolved issue somewhere in the past. That's what the past is. That's what emotions are. It's the past. And there's just so much you can do. And all of a sudden Spirit says that's a lot for people to take in. That makes a lot of sense. Now, being controlled and affected by the energies of the planet. Good God, I know this one. Your energy. Learn about acupressure, acupuncture. I'm not talking about using big dry needles. That's why I'm putting together a class that has to do with source point healing. It's understanding you have to learn how to use muscle testing or a pendulum. And then you just need to learn only a few points just to begin with. And then as you grow, you get to learn a little bit more. But as you learn how they interact, because I can show you how just in the beginning, how to get yourself turned around. It's all about measuring. It's about knowing how many times to actually address it. And energy, your aura, it's like, oh, it's just an aura. No, it's not. It's so much fucking more than that. Sorry about my language, but it's so much more than that, because I'm going to eventually teach people how to read that in your life. It really isn't that hard. As long as you get the education and the knowledge, getting the terminology makes you excel. Now, we were talking about fate and destiny. If your programs are running the show, which is in the subconscious mind, okay, it's below this, you're going to make everything in life hard because it's unconscious and it's incompetent. And how you grow and excel as a soul, as an awakened being, is that all of a sudden you're like, you think you're happy, and all of a sudden, twangs, negative stuff happens. If you don't know how to read them, you're just going to call it fate. But if you're like, oh, that got my attention. Oh, that stuck out like a sore thumb. Shit, I don't want to I don't want to waste it and have to do it again. What do I do? Well, once you understand how your energy is basically based on emotions, that tells you your beliefs and your stories and your limitations and how you gave your willpower away. And you learn to basically resolve the emotions. And then what happens is when the emotions are going nuts, your thoughts are going to increase, and then you're going to get high beta, and then you're going to get anxiety, stress, and you're going to get panic attacks, and you're going to get all the things that you hate. Negative thinking, depression, all of that. It just, okay? When you start to find and connect how all these are linked, and you start resolving the emotions, what was unconscious becomes conscious. And what was incompetent becomes very supportive, very competent. You now have the wisdom, and you're going to put that wisdom in that special place where all wisdom goes, so that when your energy in the inside starts to produce out, all of those old stories begin to fade. They becomes a memory. You get to build upon the past. You get to see how you make it through. And the more you start to change your narcissistic attitude, which is an old paradigm, or your haughtiness about, oh gosh, even to an animal, you begin to transform who you are. Okay? It's the transformation. The transformation can suck. But good God, it's so worth the transformation. And eventually, it's the journey, and you come out the other side. The biggest thing you can do when it comes to energy, when the world does it, again, if you have no other tools and you have no other way to do it, I highly suggest disrupting it. EFT, that's the fastest, quickest way to help begin to balance yourself. Even though you don't even have to do a phrase, you're like, even though I feel like shit and I feel like the wind is kicking my ass today, you're disrupting frequencies. Where you're tapping are meridian points, and you don't have to be hooked into it. And that's what part of the tapping does. You may have to do several rounds. Some people think, oh God, that's too much work. Okay, if you're not worth it, then don't do it. But if you feel like you're worth it, then tap. Okay, put a little effort into yourself and do several rounds on that particular subject. And if your mind is constantly all over the place, there's a Wayne Cook posture that will help balance your mind. There's balancing the cortis, which balances the mind. Oh my God, that which helps balance your mind. It helps you get out of stress. There's all these little things on my website. There's all these free healing tools that you can start to apply to yourself. You just got to start thinking that you're worth it. You have to get and schedule yourself in your own damn life. You need to say, oh, and as soon as you start to feel like, understand that's a program. Say, I'm shutting that damn program off and I'm going to do it this way. The more you do this, the more you're going to start getting into a specific part of who you are that's going to make you feel healthier and stronger, and you wake up every day happier and everything else. The classes will cost all different kinds of pricing. It pretty much probably will stay like $11 for each class, just because it's, I want you to come back. Okay, I want you to come back. I want you to take and invest in yourself. Now, I'm located out of South Australia, but most of my classes are going to be like through these type of venues, through this video. But I know that there's other places where I can make the window come up and I can see all of the students at once. There's so many different things we can do. There really is. Okay, so there's a lot going on, and for some reason I've got to get a new glasses. So I'm saving up my money. I need glasses because I can't even see. Now, for those of you that understand how this works, if you want a paid reading, what happens is it throws you an expedite, which means it throws you at the top of the, you get attention first. So then it goes into order. If you want a free minute read and is, you can Medicine Woman for you at dr.com. And one question, one question, and then it will show up. Now, don't repeat that question 1,000 times. Just send it once, and then I will get to you in that order. Okay. And for those of you that, if you accidentally send money through to Medicine Woman for you at dr.com, no problem. PayPal has recognized my email and has now made 2 ways for people to pay, which I need to know if there is a, where'd she go? I need to find this woman, and I don't know if she's on, and if she is, I lost her again. Christina Peacock. Okay, you paid and it showed up in my other account, and that's how I found you. I don't know if we did a reading or if this is new because I can't understand the date on it, which is today. So that means that you must have sent money to get a reading. Let's try to keep the payments through PayPal as bpower.mw@dr.com, and all the questions go to Medicine Woman for you at dr.com. So anyways, getting back to the right screen, which would be great, in which I can't even see my screen. There you go. Yes, I have a lot of them already, so I'm just going to double check to see if Christina's here. Yeah, hi, Gaia Man. Yep, I got you. And let's just see if... I'm so glad to see, Diana, you're feeling better. All these beautiful faces. I recognize all of you. You become my family. I love it. And there's family. Hi, Betty. All right, so a Christina Peacock